Welcome, everyone. My name is Amy Schneider, and I'm here with Ken Coscia. We are both certified Silva Method instructors of the Silva Method and teach the Silva Life and Intuition Immersion. I teach it here in Atlanta and Western North Carolina, and Ken teaches in Connecticut, the New England area, and also in Chicago. He is also the training director here in the United States. He trained myself and other of our instructors here in the States, and I'm super excited to be with him today because we are starting off a new series answering questions that are important to you. So if you have read the book, if you have read the Silva Method book, if you have attended a class, if you are thinking about attending a class, all of this information that we are presenting today and over weekly over the next many months, you will want to tune in so that you get all of your questions answered. We are also here for you to reach out to as well. Without further ado, Ken, welcome. I'm super excited to be starting this weekly question and answer session with you.
Thank you. It's a great idea, Amy, in doing this. And I will also add that, hey, we got to face it, full transparency here with folks. There's a lot of confusion as a result of lack of clarity in posting. That's on us as an organization, not necessarily us personally, hint, hint. And that's where we're coming from here now. So we're concerned. We would like you to make the most intelligent decision you can. What's the best fit for you? And not make it about the money or the length of time, but what will give you the greatest rewards, the greatest impact with respect to that. That's what's key, and that's where we're coming from with
Absolutely.
respect. So I'm glad. And as Amy said, I look forward to is today's kind of our welcome, but we plan to do this on a regular basis and we'll take different topics and any questions that you might have.
Absolutely. So, the first question that we are covering today is around the courses that you may be seeing out there, both the in person and the online courses. Now, Ken, I know for myself, I took the basic lecture series class for kids in 1985. And tell me, when did you first take the course?
1971. I was
Woohoo!
still at Boston University, 19 years of age. And it sounds funny saying this, but basically, this is all I've ever done. This has been my vocation, my avocation. And that's part of what I would like to bring today, a bit of an historical perspective and why is this important to you. And actually, Amy, most every instructor in the English speaking world has been working with me what we call certification or instructor training, etc., since 1984. So there's a lapse when I didn't do it, but it's been well over 35 years, 37 years working with instructors.
Wow. And you trained under Jose Silva himself, correct?
Now, I was really blessed and fortunate just to go on that and why I can give this sketch. When I started in 71, I knew nothing of this, and I became a groupie. In New England, New York area, East Coast basically put the Silva organization on the map. They had very large attendance, very large graduate organization, and we were blessed with people who had a background, people who had a sense of building a structure, building an organization, building a training center. These were my mentors. They didn't last long, frankly, because they were more into that and the business side than the vision of helping humanity and helping the world. And I don't mean that judgmentally, it's just the reality of it
Right.
with it. But I followed Jose around, and for some reason, I guess he took a liking to me because I graduated 1971. It was Memorial Day weekend, and later that summer, early, I think it was early September, before I went back to Boston, I did an advanced training with Jose himself, with Harry McKnight, one of his key instructors. And then I went back to school, and Jose was in New England, Boston area that was very active in Rhode Island. And there I was again. And we go out, and they'd often invite me to join them. So we kind of bonded that way. And I guess he saw in me things I didn't see in myself. But I went to every possible workshop, every possible advanced training that Jose did and working with him. And then every year for 2 weeks in Laredo, Texas for that. So let's take a look. Amy, can I jump in because we don't want to belabor that.
Absolutely.
It,
Yes.
so you know where we're coming from. And again, the intention is, guys, and I'll say this, you get what you pay for in terms of your time and your money. And I invite you not to make it about that. I know that's important, and especially nowadays, people are struggling that way. However, Mr. Silva spent 22 years researching hypnosis, meditation, positive thinking, psychology. At the time, the brain science was biofeedback. He looked at wisdom schools, spiritual teachings, the Bible, Eastern philosophies, and he looked for universal truths, unifying principles. And he experimented, and a lot of it came to him intuitively. And at first with his own children, and then with neighborhood children. He worked with thousands in that space of time, working with it. And at first, he was interested in helping them to learn faster and easier. And then they started having psychic experiences. And he said, I must be onto something of more value. So it took him 22 years of very diligent experiment, moving things around. And then in 1966 was the first course, not 1964, as some people have said, 66 in Texas, in the Amarillo, Texas area. Many of those, I shouldn't say many, but several of them women became our first instructors. Nelda Sheets, God bless her, one of my mentors, way back. And then we just took off from them. So back then and up to 2007, it was called the Basic Lecture Series. 40 hours. It used to be actually longer because we took a lunch and a dinner break for like almost 2 hours each time. So all we did was trim down as years went by. And it's 40 hours of training. We take one break for an hour, lunch break. We go to 7 o'clock typically. So that's what he found works best. Jose also found in the research, we're meditation based, that there was a volume, hours, at least 10 hours of guided meditation. And he found that some people, of course, learn faster than others. And the key is not what you're hearing intellectually and what you're understanding intellectually, but what you feel in your heart and the shift you make in your perception, the way you see the world, the way you live and interact. And the long story short is he found that he wanted to reach everybody, not the quickest learner, everybody. And he found that 10 hours, that if people are with us throughout from beginning to end, then that was the ticket. That's what worked to optimize the results in the class. And then they also found that we're accessing a highly suggestible state. And I'm going into things I didn't realize I was going to, but I think that this is
It's
important
important.
that you understand that. So forgive me, Amy, that he made a course, a curriculum, and he kind of modeled universities. And he looked at a lot of self-improvement aspects, things you could do through self-suggestion, things you could do through, now we could say, rewiring your brain, so to speak, by changing patterns of behavior that no longer serve you. We're all run and guided by our subconscious. We have files upon files. And that's what he began to study and learned in psychology. And he found a way to address that where people could actually take that knowledge and change their feelings, change their visual patterns, change their thinking while in this very relaxed, became known as alpha state,
Mhm.
meditative state, which is very natural to us, by the way, and while we're sleeping. That's another topic in and of itself. And 66, mostly in Texas, Mexico, and then came in 69 to actually Greenwich, Connecticut, first classes, then New York City, and then just took off.
Yeah.
But the point I'll make is as time went along with that, there were many adaptations. And frankly, we're the oldest and most copied, most imitated program. And again, I'll say it's on us, it's on our organization that we kind of rested on our laurels. Because
Mhm.
There are over 500 articles written about us, so many books written, Life magazine, Newsweek magazine, Boston Globe. I'm just doing the US based
Right.
ones. Every country, major stories about it. All I had to do as a young instructor was run a small little inexpensive ad, free intro lecture, and the room we'd sell out. It would pack, well, we didn't charge, but we'd
Right.
max out
Yeah.
in the room. But that didn't last. That was the 70s, our heyday. And then as the self or personal development field took off, it started changing. In my opinion, looking, and I think I've been there and through it, not even the Silva family was there at that time. Didn't reinvest, didn't look at marketing, kind of took it for granted that we were here in the beginning,
Mhm.
and things started softening.
Mhm.
Less instructors, less of a turnout. So
Mhm.
Jose, God bless the man, was always thinking ideas how to support his instructors, how to keep this alive and keep going. And he came up with an idea called Ultramind ESP. So
Mhm.
there are 4 days, 4 segments. We used to call it 101, 202, 303, and 404. And the Ultramind ESP was basically a copy identical to what we did in day 3 and 4,
Okay.
case working, mental projection, but he added some beautiful advanced concepts about source energy,
Mhm.
consciously connecting to source, using source, the divine, the field, whatever you want to call it, for guidance.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it was kind of an experiment. Most instructors, including myself, said, Jose, no thank you, because how can we charge people full boat fee when it's 90, most of it overlapping what we do already?
Right.
Maybe a good little workshop. Some
Mhm.
instructors went with him. Jose then took ill and passed away. Well, I think it was 98.
Mhm.
And it remained. And not officially, but some people who worked closely with him, family members, cousins, were given the rights legally. And they began to offer it around the world as a program. Excellent, by the way, but
Yeah.
it's missing the research. It's missing the very purity of what Jose found is needed to set it up. Because we're all psychic and everybody has ESP potential. And there are many, we're all naturals, by the way, but there are many who are very famous. And if you listen to them, they they don't know how to control it necessarily or focus it per se or direct it or teach people how to do that.
Right.
That's what Mr. Silva came up with. It slows down the process, but it works. So when people do this, they do it with control. So again, I say that's the pure, the way Jose wanted it, getting that in. It was missing the Ultramind DSP. And I won't even, I'll spare you the details, but it kind of lingered and it may be out there somewhat. But in 2006, Mind Valley, Vision Lakhiani, bless the man's soul, his business was tanking. If you've heard his story,
Yes.
he came in and he learned Ultramind ESP. Never went through instructor training officially, never didn't know me at first at that time as training director, any of that. He was given, because no one showed up, a manual, he paid a fee, and he became an instructor. Now, the man's brilliant, by the way, and he's a phenomenal presenter, and he's very well connected, and he's a voracious studier of modalities. I,
Yes.
absolutely. So, I mean, just the fact of the matter. And he started then marketing, and his claim to fame was using marketing tools on the internet. He started building classes.
Mhm.
And then he came to, and it saved his business. But then he came to realize that Silva International, the parent company that owns the trademark Silva Method and
Mhm.
so on, and the program, and he pitched us. Him and his at that time partner came to Texas, and they were going to market us and help us, and they did for a few years, up
Yeah.
until maybe 2012, 2014-ish, and they helped us tremendously. But the first thing they said was, "This isn't a basic program.
Mhm.
This isn't a it's advanced. It's very spiritual."
Mhm.
So he helped us rebrand. And and again, excuse me for going on, but I think this is an important distinction to make for people.
Yeah.
And at the time in 2006, things were not going good for the Silva organization and Silva International. It
Mhm.
was not a pretty picture. It
Yeah.
was, and I'll respect the privacy, but it was not looking good whether we would even continue to offer the program. And
Mhm.
even myself, I had to have that conversation with my wife.
Mhm.
And at that time, the family got together in harmony, beautifully, the children, that is.
Mhm.
And they said, we got to correct this. We got to protect Jose's legacy.
Yeah.
And Laura Silva Quesada, who came in around early 1980s, I was one of her mentors. She had several. And then we became close and working together. She had quit in 2000 for, it's a family run business.
Yeah.
But then they asked her to come back, and she did. And
Mhm.
she became president. And that's, and Mind Valley helped us to get back on page. And we came up with Silva Life System and Silva Intuition System, 4 days immersive. What happened before that, just before, sometime in the early 90s, Jose gave an instructor permission, who was very well respected, to take 4 days and condense it into 2 days.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, folks, ask me anything you want. I believe in transparency. And the truth of the matter is, things were not going well. So instead of renting space for 2 weekends and bottling up that time, everybody loved the idea.
Mhm.
It was cost saving, it was time saving, and it worked for experienced instructors like myself, but it was very intense for people. And it was hard. And we had to combine a lot of the material and a lot of the exercises because it was just 2 days, and we made it work. New instructors, frankly, didn't handle it and didn't last because it was just too much over the top. When Mind Valley came back and started helping us, Laura Silva and I, we looked and said, that was a big mistake, and we own it. And we went back to 4 days. So it was just a big name change. But we took some of the new material that appears in Ultramind ESP. We reworked the language to make it more appropriate to the times. We reworked it in the branding, more relevant to what people experience about being on purpose in your life, living a purpose-driven life, and how we can use our source energy, our connection to source, to be guided to make our best moves. What's my next best move? It's beautiful. I love it. It's such a wonderful addition. I know you do too, Amy. Good.
I love it. I love it too. I, having gone through the basic lecture series and then upgrading to Silva Life and Intuition, the value of adding it in, it really connects even more of the dots. And so I love it and I love teaching it. So I had to add that in.
Oh, please do. I'm going on with this. I'm very passionate about it because this
Mhm.
is a work of art, this program that Jose Silva created. I feel blessed and fortunate that so early in my life I found it. I was attracted to it. And what I've been doing this, it's an original idea. And I'm doing my best to honor his legacy and to protect it. I'm not a family member. I'm not a Silva. I've, the only interest I have is in the hopes of keeping this baby alive and being supportive of my fellow instructors who work very hard. Not all instructors are created equal. There are people who've been fast tracked and are in a position of teaching and they have very little experience. You should ask your instructor, how long have you been teaching? Who did you train with? How many times did you review? Did you facilitate graduate practice groups first? It's not, we make it look easy, but it's a work of art and it takes a masterful approach to facilitate this. And Amy is one of those people who I would certainly say she has that because she reviews, she does the work, she attends presentation. I don't know how many times she's reviewed with me. They call me the best of the best, but just because you hear it differently from another person,
Yeah, you do.
because she's got a growth mindset. So to
Yep.
go back to Mind Valley, when we were doing that, we
Yep.
took the new material. So we moved some things around, admittedly, things that we covered in day number 3. We now cover the end of day 2, laboratory and counselors.
Mhm.
We combined, like we had done in the 2-day version, some of the meditations. It works beautiful to make room for about 40% new material. Source energy, connection to purpose, the fantastic voyage, the resource state for building your confidence, and so on. Again, I think it's even better than ever before with that in honoring that. But it takes a lot of skill to present and to facilitate that. So that's a big difference. So Mind Valley, bless their souls, around 2014, there was a separation, business separation. They no longer work directly with us. But during COVID, Vision Lakiani and his company were given permission by Jose Silva Jr., one of the Silva family involved, because he owns the Ultramind ESP rights
Hmm.
to create a course, an online, and it's got videos, pre-recorded videos, and so on. And it's not the course, it's not the full course.
Yeah.
Some people love it and get great value from it. And I'm sure, I know so many people have taken, but it's not the 40 hours and not the way Jose designed it. So life and intuition system is the real deal. It's not the watered down online version that MindVal is offering or Silva Digital that's advertised on silvamethod.com. I'm sorry, but no,
Hmm.
I'm not sorry. It's the reality. And looking at that, they're trying to cover everything and they have very little experience with
Yeah.
this. This is the original evidence-based 40 hours of immersive training created by Jose Silva himself, delivered the way he always intended it, in person, live, with an instructor guiding you step by step with that. So our intention is just to give you the facts and that you make a decision. And some of what we've mentioned might fit for you and might be great for you.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for the real deal, the way Jose wanted it, we now call it Silva Life and Intuition System. It's an immersive. And there are people who are still doing the older 2 or 3 day version of the basic lecture series. Bless them, but it's not the way Jose designed it and wanted it. And I heard one person in New York area, Long Island, is doing the first day teleconference call.
Mm.
Are you kidding me? She's not even watching them video, which you need to be doing, interacting with the group, and then 2 days in person. Um, I bring it up because it's out there and people are going to see it, and you just need to
Absolutely.
be aware of that. I hope this helps, guys. I really do. And
And you also may see the Silva Life and Intuition System listed as the 4-day immersion. That's the same thing. That's what both myself and Ken teach. And what I love so much, Ken, about you being our training director is that when you have taught us all of the material, it is very true, 100% to what what Jose intended it to be. And so it's very, when you come to our classes, you get the Silva method. So you get Silva life and intuition. You get all of the techniques, and it's also it's a passion of mine. I've been practicing for 40 years, and I've been an instructor for 5, and I'm so honored, and I hope so much, as Ken just mentioned, that this has helped answer some questions about the differences of the courses you may see out there. And stay tuned to our next question and answer series next week, where we talk about how do I know that my instructor is a certified Silva Method instructor. If you want
I want
to,
to add something too before you.
please,
This,
yes.
no, I have to explain why I started laughing and giggling because as Amy was talking, I'm thinking sometimes I feel like I'm channeling Jose. He used to say, "Oh boy," we had a lot of fun with respect to that. And and by the way, it's just a brand name and change, and it's Silva International. When Laura Silva Quesada was serving as president, this is official. And for 18 years, most of the world, I traveled the world updating instructors from the basic series to life and intuition. And almost all, just a few countries didn't, which is their right and their
Yeah,
choice with respect to that. But 18 years, and I don't know how many hundreds of thousands or more people have been through. And what I'm hearing from people who went through the basic lecture series, wow, I thought that was phenomenal. This just really is like the icing on the cake. It's like Silva has come out of the closet spiritually
yeah,
to
it
honor
really,
that.
really is.
So, Amy, I thank you for taking the time and encouraging me to do this. And I look forward for our weekly chats.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And if you want to reach out, and if you have a question, you can email both Ken or myself. Ken is, Ken, do you want to say your email?
Well, it's hard to remember because I have it written down. My
Okay.
website is easier. Find Silva
Yes.
Method of Connecticut or silvamethodct.com. And
Absolutely.
my email is there. I'm happy to. Phone number. I do take calls. I do answer my own phone, or Barbara will answer. People are always surprised. And
Yes.
that's a lot of what you get when you go with someone live, an instructor. That's how we were taught. And that's what, because you need support.
You
And
do.
without the support, what counts more is what you do after you go through the training.
Yes.
And when you have an instructor guiding you, especially in their experience, like an Amy, you get that person guiding you, not just during the class, but for as long as you want, and as long as
Exactly.
they're there and available to offer to.
Yes. Yes. And my website is silvamethodatlanta.com, and all of my information is there as well. So, Ken, thank you again for joining me, and I can't wait till next week. And everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.